जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव ओम विष्णुपाद परिहंसकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्रीमद अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी शिला प्रभुपाद की, इसका अनफाउंड आचार्य शिला प्रभुपाद की, नम आचार्य शिला हरिदास ठाकुर की, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद भागवतम की। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada की जय। Hare Krishna. So welcome to the morning Bhagavatam class. Today we are reading the verse from Canto 3, chapter 29 and text 28. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Text 28. Jiva Shrestha hi ajivanam Tata prana bhruta sube Tata sa chitta pravaras Tatascendriya vrittaya Jiva Shrestha hi ajivanam Tata prana bhruta sube Tata sachitta pravaras Tatascendriya vrittaya Jiva Shrestha hi ajivanam Tata prana bhruta sube Tata sa chitta pravaras Tatascendriya vrittaya Prabhuji. Jiva Shrestha hi ajivanam Tata prana bhruta sube Tata sa chitta pravaras Tatascendriya vrittaya Jiva Shrestha hi ajivanam Tata prana bhruta sube Tata sa chitta pravaras Tatascendriya vrittaya Jiva Shrestha hi ajivanam Tata prana bhruta sube Tata sa chitta pravaras Tatascendriya vrittaya Jiva Shrestha hi ajivanam Tata prana bhruta sube Tata sa chitta pravaras Tatascendriya vrittaya Jiva Shrestha hi ajivanam Tata prana bhruta sube Tata sa chitta pravaras Tatascendriya vrittaya जीवश्रेष्ठा हि अजीवनम् तथा प्राणभृता शुभे तथा सा चित्तप्रवरास् तथाश्चेन्द्रियवृत्तया. What meaning? Jiva, living entities. Shrestha, better. He, indeed. Ajivanam, than inanimate objects. Tata, than them. Pranabhrata, entities with life symptoms. Subhe, O blessed mother. Tatha, then. Sa chitta, entities with developed consciousness. Pravara, better. Tatha, than them. Cha, and. Indriya vrittaya, those with sense perception. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation, please repeat with me. Living entities are superior to inanimate objects, O blessed mother, and among them living entities who display life symptoms are better. Animals with developed consciousness are better than them, and better still are those who have developed sense perception. Purport. Please listen. In the previous verse, it was explained that living entities should be honored by charitable gifts and friendly behavior. And in this verse, in the following verses, the description of different grades of living entities is given so that one can know when to behave friendly and when to give charity. For example, a tiger is living entity, part and parcel of Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the Supreme Lord is living in the heart of tiger as a super soul. But does this mean that we have to treat the tiger in a friendly manner? Certainly not. We have to treat him differently, give him charity in the form of prasada. The many saintly persons in the jungles do not treat the tigers in a friendly way, but they supply prasada foodstuff to them. The tigers come, take the food and go away, just as dog does. According to the Vedic system, a dog is not allowed to enter the house because of their uncleanliness. Cats and dogs are not allowed within the apartment of a gentleman, but are so trained that they stand outside. The compassionate householder will supply prasada to the dogs and cats who eat outside and then go away. We must treat the lower living entities compassionately, but this does not mean that we have to treat them in the same way we treat other human beings. The feeling of equality must be there, but the treatment should be discriminating. Just how discrimination should be maintained is given in the following 6 verses concerning the different grades of living conditions. Let's do Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Sri Yuttappadakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyasya Krupa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhaktarunda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So welcome once again. So where is it? Oh, sorry. I thought it is ending. The first division is made between dead and stone-like matter and living organism. A living organism is sometimes manifested even stone. Experience shows that some hills and mountains grow. This is due to the presence of soul within that stone. Above that, the next manifestation of living condition is development of consciousness, and the next manifestation is the development of sense perception. In the Moksha Dharma section of Mahabharata, it is stated that trees have developed sense perception. They can see and smell. We know by experience that trees can see. Sometimes in its growth, a large tree changes its course of development to avoid some hindrances. This means that a tree can see, and according to Mahabharata, a tree can also smell. This indicates the development of sense perception. Okay, sorry, I saw the full stop. I thought there ends the purport. Okay, so we are continuing the conversation between Mother Devahuti and Kapila Muni. So the conversation started when Mother Devahuti was saying that I am fed up with my sensual pleasure, because she was there with Kardama Muni, but she was feeling that she was not utilizing the Kardama Muni to progress in her bhakti. So she was saying that I am fed up with this sensual pleasure involving in. So tell me how to get out of this material pleasures and how to progress ahead in the bhakti. Then that's where all the old conversation started between Mother Devahuti and Kapila Muni. And in this today's verse, if you see the different gradation of living entities, it is mentioned. Like mountains are there, mountains, it's just form, it doesn't have any consciousness. Whereas trees will have more better conscious than mountain. And better than trees, other living entities, 4-leg animals. And better than 4-leg animals, 2-leg entities, more conscious. Like that, it's a different gradations are giving. Kapila Muni was explaining how this is related to the overall discussion of the Kardama Muni is explaining the bhakti, right? How this section fits into the bhakti, how we can understand what is the benefit out of this understanding, this gradation of different living entities. So, if you see the last few verses, almost from I think the 19 or 20 there onwards, Kapila Muni was explaining the bhakti. The essence of bhakti, he was actually revealing the knowledge. What is the importance of bhakti? When you do bhakti, what will happen? Bhakti is nothing but just coming to the temple and taking the deity darshan and taking prasadam, do some service. Is it only limited to that, or is it bit more than that? What is that? So Kapila Muni was clearly giving instructions to Mother Devahuti. Those are we can also take that as instructions to us as well, because Kapila Muni is none other than Supreme Lord Krishna. So he is giving instructions to Mother Huti. We can also take those instructions to apply in our bhakti. So before understanding those instructions provided by Kapila Muni in the previous verses and this verse, let's try to understand the bhakti little bit in more detail. In general, like normal, the elevated devotees and who are in the path of devotion, they know what is bhakti. But those who are in the neophyte state are people who are in the material consciousness, like how they feel bhakti. Suppose if someone asks you to come to the temple, they may say, okay, I am busy with my work, I am busy with my studies, I don't have time. Or some people will say, this is the age is to enjoy the life, enjoy the life, and after retirement, after 60 years or 65 years, when I have free time, I'll come and do the bhakti. But is it, many people will say, like, there are other misconceptions, like some people will say, okay, instead of coming to the temple, putting money in the donation, I can feed people. Or some people we must have seen, most of you seen that Bollywood movies where they were criticizing that Abhishek doing Abhishek on the deity is waste of. Those are various misconceptions there in a public, in general public. That when we understand the Kapila Muni instructions, all your doubts can be erased. You will be having the clear understanding what exactly means bhakti. Those are the various instructions when the Kapila Muni has provided. So we can do that revision as part of revision, and we can connect to the current verse as well. So what is the bhakti? Like the bhakti, why we need to do the bhakti? It's Kapila Muni started addressing the Devahutis question, because we are involved in material activities. To come out of these material activities, purify senses, and to focus on Supreme Lord, we have to do bhakti. Now, so when people say, I do bhakti after 60, 70 years, then is it okay? Let's see. I'll give one example, simple example. In the kitchen, we have big vessels, right? So when you cook on a particular big festival day, when big vessels, I think it will be burned, and it will become more dirty at the bottom, and it will be so much thing we need to clean. Suppose if you 60 years person, if he comes and asks you to do the cleaning, will he be able to do with the aged person? No, he will not have a strength to lift it. He will not have strength to clean everything, right? So like this, when we don't do bhakti, when we involve in material activities, what is we are doing? We are making our senses dirty. We are making our consciousness dirty, right? So as you delay bhakti, the dirt will accumulate. It's not just vessel, it will accumulate like a big mountains. Not only from the current activities birth, but you will have a dirt from the previous births. So it keep on accumulating. Then at the age of 65, 70, if you start sitting during chanting, after one round, your hand will start paining, right? So if you sit for 2 hours, your back will ache. Now in the current youth itself, they are not able to sit. After 65 years, will you be able to do it? No. So bhakti is not there to do after retirement. It is now itself. In a Bhagavatam, it was saying that Savai Pumsa Paro Dharma Yato Bhakti Adokshaja Ahetuki Apratihata. Apratihata means uninterrupted. We have to do service every time. So bhakti is not for the later stage, because as we delay, our consciousness, our dirt will accumulate more and more. If the accumulating more and more, it's very difficult to remove the dirt. So that is the reason bhakti has to be performed immediately, without any delay. We have to start. Now, so how we need to do bhakti? That Kapila Muni also explained clearly. Chanting the holy name, taking the shelter of spiritual master, and that way you will start your bhakti. Now, what kind of consciousness you will be having bhakti when you are doing bhakti? So for example, in India, like if people go to some Char Dham Yatra, some people, not everybody, what they will go, it's a hill station, mountains, right? People will go with the consciousness as a tourist. Not everybody will have a consciousness to it's a holy dham, we have to get the purification done. Many people will have, but some people will go with the consciousness of like going as a picnic spot or a tourism place, right? That is not the right consciousness. So not only that, when you come to the temple, when you go, like some people will come, they don't know the process, like they simply directly come, they take Krishna and they pay obeisances or not, sometimes they don't do. Or if some sannyasi, senior devotee is there, they don't realize the importance of that person, right? Many people who are in the path of devotion, they will respect, they will pay obeisances and they will take blessings. But other people, they don't bother at all, right? So some people will come, the Radha Krishna is there, they may look only for one deity, they may not see so. And many people will be sitting around and they don't have any interaction, right? So in general, what I am trying to say is people, they don't try to establish connection with everyone. Suppose if you are coming to the temple, you don't try to build who's in the temple, what the devotees are doing, what the pujari is doing. So everyone is doing some service to the temple, in the deity, directly or indirectly, but you are not focused on any of those things. And you are just coming and taking darshan and going, right? So these are various tendencies we see. This is our general consciousness. But what is Kardama Muni saying in subsequent verses? It is saying, so but why we are doing this? Because we don't have the right knowledge, right consciousness. Because of that, just even if we come to the temple, we don't focus much on the deity. Sometimes we get distraction with other things. So many things are happening. So with what consciousness we have to come, when we come to the temple, what should be our consciousness, we can discuss. So the first principle, he was saying this, Kapila Muni is saying, if you come worship deity in the temple, you don't realize that same Supreme Lord who is in the form of super soul, then you are ignorant. This is what he mentioned in the previous verses. You are coming to the temple, you are seeing the deity, but the same deity is a super soul present in everyone's heart. That understanding you need to develop through bhakti. If you don't develop that bhakti, you are ignorant. What is this deity? Deity is Archa Vigraha. It is for our benefit. Since by reading simply pastimes, simply reading scriptures, we cannot meditate on Krishna personal form. To make it simplify our devotion, this Archa Vigraha is there. But same Archa Vigraha is there in everyone's heart as a super soul. If you don't realize this, you are ignorant. That is what the first principle. So when you come to the temple, this is the first principle. Not only focus on deity, but senior devotees, everyone there, take obeisances, interact with them. So that means you are not only talking to that person, but you are giving doing the worship to the super soul inside the heart. And he was further explaining in subsequent verses. Kapila Muni is saying, just seeing the deity is not enough. Same deity is present as a super soul. So we need to respect everyone. So the deity is there. That is good. We need to do all the, as per our prescribed things, we have to perform deity worship, everything. But at the same time, people are around and everyone is having the super soul present in that. So we need to respect. In the subsequent verses, it is mentioned, how do we respect? Respect means what level? We can have our own understanding on respecting people, but what scriptures are saying, how should we respect? That is also explained. One who offers me respect but is envious of the bodies of others and is therefore a separatist never attain peace of mind because of his inimical behavior towards other living entities. So the next thing is, when you come and pay obeisances, respect deity, but if you are showing envious attitude towards other people, then he is saying that you will not attain any peace. See, this is a very nice example, right? In the general common world, we say, okay, coming to the temple, if people think that some general people, okay, it's a waste of time, I will go to some other place, I will do some charity, or I will do something else. But here, we are building the bhakti will build your personality. It will develop your characteristic, right? You are respecting teaching you to respect everyone in the planet, everyone in all the living entities, you have to respect. That is what bhakti is teaching. It's not just, yes, worshipping the deity is foremost important. At the same time, you need to respect all the living entities. Imagine if everyone is having this mood, if everyone is developing that, respecting other people, whether in the temple or outside, everywhere, then everybody will have no envious attitude towards other people, right? In this become whole country, whole society will be harmonious. There will be no war between any countries, right? Everyone will be having if everyone exhibits the same behavior. That is what bhakti is teaching. Bhakti, respect everyone, love everyone. Even Kapila Muni was keep on saying, my dear mother, even if you worship with proper rituals and paraphernalia, a person who is ignorant of my presence in all living entities never please me. Generally, the worship we are doing for the deity is to any service we do to please Krishna. But you choose all the services, you prepare whatever service you have, you do in the temple. But at the same time, you are exhibiting arrogant nature or envious nature towards other. Krishna is not happy. So these are all the things by effect of bhakti. How this is the essence of bhakti. Bhakti is not just deity worship or any service. You have to respect all the living entities. And performing his prescribed duties, one should worship the deity of the Supreme Personality of Godhead until one realizes my presence in his own heart and hearts of all other living entities. So you have to worship the deity until you get this realization, right? Deity is not only there, it is there in everyone's heart. Until that you get this realization. These are all the Kapila Muni instructions to Mother Devahuti. We can also apply, right? So now, how to worship the deity? It was mentioned very simple process in Bhagavad Gita 9.26. Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yoma Bhakti Payachiti Tadaham Bhakti Upahartam Asnami Prayatatmana. You offer with love and devotion. What is it? Water, leaf, flower and fruit. Nothing else. You don't need to buy big things, big boga or anything. In your capacity, whatever you have, just you offer. But what is the condition? With love. That devotion. That is important. Just like, okay, you offer the food and you watch mobile. That is not devotion, right? So generally people, we have that mobile is the only common item. Smartphone, iPad, everything. So you put the boga at the Lord and you watching some news or anything. That is not devotion. You focus on Krishna. When you offer it, devotion you have to do chanting, do kirtan. With sincerely, you, as if some person is sitting, you have to treat that way. That is how, when you do that devotion, then you will develop this attitude that when you are loving Krishna, you start loving everyone. So the essence of bhakti is like finally we can say, just respect everyone. Whether it doesn't matter his gender, body, or living entity like animal or human being, it doesn't matter. So if you are loving Krishna means you need to love everyone. That is what all our very senior sannyasis and Prabhupada, everyone is mentioning, right? Loving Krishna means loving all the human beings, because all the human beings are part and parcel of Krishna. Like Krishna's different bodies. Suppose if you say one person, I like you but I don't like your leg, or I don't like your hand, how it looks like? So you need to, loving means you complete everything. So living entity is part and parcel of Krishna. So loving Krishna means loving all other living entities. Now, again and again Kapila Muni was mentioning respecting other living entities, right? So how to respect? That is also Kapila Muni was mentioning, and Prabhupada was elaborating in many purports, like previous purport and before that many purport. So when you are treating the people, respecting the people, we can broadly 3 categories we can identify. One, who is superior to you. Second one, who is equal on your level. Third one, lower than you. So, right? So when you are dealing with superior people, superior can be a devotee or he can be an aged person. He need not be a devotee. If he is not doing devotion but still is a senior person, aged person, you need to respect. If you are a spiritual master is there, he is a senior person, you need to follow all the etiquette, you need to respect. But at the same time, next to spiritual master, if some junior some devotee is there who is a neophyte, you can't ignore him. If required, whatever help required, you need to do the service to him as well. Not only the spiritual master, if he is a normal aged person, he is not a devotee, just he came to the temple to take darshan. If he is an aged person, or if having any difficulties in, you need to take care. If you have ability to help him, you should help him. If it is in your capacity, you should help him. So this is what we need to, respecting the people superior and respecting the people equal level. So you need to have interact with him. Okay, you both are equal, but he is doing some bigger service than me. Then you should not develop some envy and stop talking. Right? You should have developed the mutual and proper relationship with him, and you should have exchange of the views, discussion on the various topics of scriptures. You can clarify each other your doubts, right? So these are all things we can do at the equal level. And lower level, if you are having this proper knowledge to impart someone this knowledge, then you can give this knowledge to lower people. Those who are in the neophyte stage or material people, you can also upbring them, because the Lord's purpose is to bring all the conditioned living entities to his abode. If you are fulfilling the Lord's desire, Lord will be happy. So in whatever capacity, if you are some neophyte devotee is there, or if you are a materialistic person who is not in the devotion path, try to help him. So this is how the meaning of respecting everyone along with the deity worship. So this is the Kapila Muni explaining. Not only that, just respecting is not only at the human living entity, human bodily level, not it's animals also. we have to respect. In today's purport also, it was mentioning. Like if you remember the verse in Bhagavad Gita, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavyastine Sunichena Swapakecha Pandita Samadarshini. The knowledgeable person, the Brahmana, he will see all the living entities at the equal. Then people will have an idea, like, so what is the meaning of equal? Equal in the sense, like, you are the basic principle of Bhagavad Gita is Krishna is Supreme Lord, he is a super soul, and we are not the body, we are the spirit soul. With that understanding, we have to see everyone as a spirit soul. Though they will, because of their conditioned nature, based on past karma, they have taken various bodies, but they are spirit souls. So with that understanding, you should not discriminate based on the gender, based on the age, based on the color. You should not respect. You should not ignore. You should treat everyone at the equal level. This is what Bhakti is also teaching. Kapila Muni was mentioning. Respecting everyone means respecting, Bhakti means performing deity and respecting everyone in the society. So it doesn't matter whether it's a human living being or living animals. Then Prabhupada was giving clearly idea, because some people seeing equally means, okay, I'll bring a tiger and keep it at my home. So we need to be practical. What is really important? So seeing equally, it doesn't mean that you have to, the way you are dealing with a human being, you have to deal with an animal. It's not that. What first understanding is, seeing equally means those are all spirit living beings, and you need to address their needs whatever way possible. So like the tiger is there, tiger also need a food, but to feed food you don't need to bring it into the house. But tiger lives in the jungle, forest, you go to there in a proper security measures, keep some food and come back. Whereas some senior person is coming to your house, you invite him properly, you give him the nice seat, offer nice prasadam, and so this is how the discrimination power. First thing, you are treating him as a soul. Second thing, you are based on that bodily conditions, they have position, you have to respect that position and deal with them accordingly. We need kind of a maturity or intelligence to deal different situations. So if the cat and dog is there, like one more example I can say, cow produces milk, and after some age it become old. Then what people will do? They will send to slaughterhouse. That is not the equality, right? This is when it is in a good proper condition, you are utilizing it. After it's become old, you are sending it to slaughterhouse. That is not. Equality means when it is good state, you use it, you are getting the milk, but after it is retired, you take care properly instead of sending into slaughterhouse. Or if you are, suppose you are in a capacity in zoo or some other place where you have to take care of animals. If the lion and elephant is tiger is there. Tiger is wild animal, elephant is big animal. Okay, these are wild animal and very big animals, I need to take them properly. But all other small dogs and cats you ignore. That is not the way seeing the thing, right? Equality means if you have a capacity to serve all those things, serve equally. When you are in a position to serve all those things, don't discriminate based on the bodily condition. So that is what the Prabhupada was explaining throughout this chapter. I think it was Mahabharata, I think it was mentioned somewhere. If an enemy comes to your house, you have to treat him like a friend. So underlying principle of seeing all equal respect is, basic reason what Kapila Muni mentioned is, he is a deity, Supreme Lord, and same deity is present in everyone's heart as a super soul. That is the connecting factor. Now if you go back and see, in the beginning we were discussing, like some people will say, why I should come to the temple, why I should donate in the temple, why should I offer abhishek to the deity, right? Now you see, when you do all these things and you are taking care of people, so whatever you are doing materially, same thing we are doing in devotion. The basic difference is, when you do in the material consciousness, you will get reaction. Suppose if you donate someone, some money you gave, but as a karma reaction will come, you have to take another birth to fulfill that. Someone will be helping you. But when you do with this, treating deity is there, super soul is there, because of that you are dealing that based on the super soul is there in everyone's heart, that will become transcendental. You will not have any karmic reaction, rather you will be progressing in your bhakti. So this is how we need to maintain our respect. This is what the respecting everyone. That is what Kapila Muni was mentioning all throughout the previous verses. Respect the living entity. If you don't respect, I am not pleased. If you don't respect, you are ignorant. Like various things Kapila Muni was mentioning. Respecting, the basic underlying principle is seeing super soul in everyone heart. And don't discriminate based on bodily, nationality, gender, color, animal, human being. So based on your capacity, whatever you are in, without any discrimination, you have to deal with it. That is what I think in Bhagavad Gita, I think it was in 5th chapter or some, Prabhupada was explaining. Like this Krishna consciousness is like a peace formula. When you are dealing with everyone with respect, with love, with humanity, right? When you are doing bhakti with all these things, why people with envy, having the enviousness with each other? Everyone will be happy. So, Prabhupada was taking the example, United Nations was created to bring all the nations together. But if you see, in the United Nations building, every country will have a flag, their respective country's flag. Now the flag count is increasing year on year. What it means? It's unable to keep everything united. It is fragmented. The countries are getting divided, right? Same thing. But this Krishna consciousness, this bhakti, when you apply, its bhakti means not only the devotion, respecting all the human beings, because super soul is there in everyone's, then everyone will be peaceful and the society will be peaceful, and we don't see any war or any violence, everything among everyone. So now in today's purport, Prabhupada was mentioning that, right? So sometimes some stones will have the different gradation of animals, living entities. What this understanding will help? So this understanding, that entities are there, living entities are there. Like some are having the proper consciousness, some are having the less consciousness. Like we have different sense objects. Like those are the sense objects like form, taste, smell, sound and touch. For each of these sense objects, you will have various senses. Smell, you will have a nose. Taste, you will have a tongue. Form, you will have a eyes. Like sound, you will hear, ears are there. Like that, touch, your skin is there. The various senses are there, sense objects are there. As your number of the sound subjects, your ability is increasing, the more consciousness it will have. So the lesser the senses, the less consciousness they have, but the higher the senses, more the more consciousness you will have. So that way, so when you are dealing with these things, you should not keep all these things into the picture. So you have to understand everything is like a living entity. Your super soul is there, you have to deal. So these will be there, but you have to respect everyone. And Prabhupada was mentioning that sometimes the stone will not have, stone generally it is an inanimate object. But in some purport he was explaining that it will grow. Some cases we see it will growing like year on year, it will grow or its size will decrease. The best example is, in our current situation is Govardhan hill. It's like we know that every day by day it will reduce, right? Some mustard seed size, it will deteriorate. And so we know that these are various examples. And the tree also, he's saying the next level of higher consciousness is trees. Trees will have a smell and a sense perception. That's what the Prabhupada was mentioning. So, like even some of the scientists were saying that some of the trees they perform the research and prove that the trees were talking with each other. If the bunch of trees are there, they will be interacting with each other. So the consciousness is there. So different gradation of consciousness is there. So but Kapila Muni was explaining that he'll keep on in the subsequent verses also, he was explaining the different levels of consciousness, and finally he is establishing that the person with Krishna consciousness is the topmost. That is what he is going to establish in subsequent verses. We are not going to go through all those verses, but subsequent the devotees will take in coming days, but we will not go in detail on those points. So this way, the bhakti is, essence of bhakti is right. And we can also understand this gradation of this different consciousness in our food habits. Like some people will say eating, like generally we say we should not eat animals and all, right? We only take plants. Then people will argue. Plants will have also consciousness, and we have eating, we taking any vegetables and cooking and eating, right? So that is why it is not a mistake. Why? Because if the killing animal is a mistake, the living of the plants also having the life, consciousness, right? Why it is not a mistake? But this understanding the different gradation of consciousness. The first thing is the less consciousness things will have less pain, less trouble. That is one point. But higher the consciousness, if you are trying to kill, the more pain they exhibit. That is 1.2. Second point, Krishna mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 9.2, right? Just now we recited that verse. Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yoma Bhakti Prayach. So Krishna is mentioning Bhagavad Gita clearly that you offer me fruit, flower, water and leaves, right? So when you offer all this, he will accept. So Krishna is telling that you offer these things. We know. What you do, you offer those things to Krishna and eat. So then you will not have any reaction. But if you kill animals, those will have they will exhibit more consciousness, right? That is not advisable as per our Shastric thing. So this gradation of consciousness we can also understand to what to eat, what not to eat. So I'll conclude here. Any comments? Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, next.
Prabhuji asks, so how quickly do jivas form in lower forms such as fruits of trees or flowers or the bodies of animals? How can they progress spiritually? Like in lower.
See, okay.
They are offered to the Lord and they engage in devotional service. So Prabhuji also requests for an example. So he also says.
Yeah. See, 8.4 million living beings are there, right? So 8.4 million species are there. When soul comes into the take birth, it has to go through the cycle of 8.4 million species. It is a sequential, one after other. So only the human form is the one that will have a ability to go back to Godhead. But yeah, as you said, when you offer this to Krishna, when you are going in the park, you chanting loudly, trees will have a consciousness that will benefit to progress faster. But yeah, human form is the one which will take you out of this material entanglement.
Prabhuji also asked an example. So there was a story of a mouse which was around the ghee lamp and it by mistake lit itself.
Yeah. Devotee. Yeah, that's what. See, that's what. See, how do you relate? See, that's what. Okay, best example is if you have a dog at your house, right? One example item. So you feed dog all prasadam every day. Don't give all animal food rather. And at one point of time, yes, Prabhu.
Just to quote that, actually the last one back about it.
In the same life, is it? Not in the next life.
And
Okay.
Mahaprabhu, the dog that came.
Yeah, in the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu past time also.
He did not take next birth.
Yeah. So in general, that is the process is that the human form is the birth which will go back. But yeah, there are examples where based on your devotion with like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Leela and all, people will go back, the soul will go back to the Godhead in the same life. But yeah, general process is human form. But if you feed the dog, animals, everything, the prasadam, so by their Krishna's mercy, either they will go in the same life or in the next life they will get a human birth and they will do more devotion and go. That's. Yep.
Just in regards to respect, when you talk about respect, our basic understanding is based on the appearance of a person, their background, and things like that. So when you talk about respecting holy entities, can you explain how does one show that respect on the platform of Atma?
On the platform of?
Atma, on the soul.
See, that's what I'm saying, that when you see that if a person is coming, soul is there inside, super soul is there in the, but so it's so super soul is there. When you take care of that person properly, if some person is in need, if there is some need to that person, he needs some money, or he needs some place to sit, or he is unable to walk. But if you are the people tendency, so you are busy, okay, someone else will take care, I'll go away, right? But that is not. But you understand that when you see that Krishna is there in his heart, when you help him, Krishna will be pleased. That is how you are respecting. Right? Sometimes we will have so many thoughts. Materially, we will be in rush, or we don't have though we have ability to help, someone else will take care. Right? That kind of consciousness sometimes we have. So when you see that he is there, Supreme Lord is there in the heart, dealing with that person means Krishna will be happy. That is the way of doing service to Krishna. With that consciousness, instead of running away without helping, if you fulfill his needs, that is a respect.
Because when you talk about needs, still again it comes to consciousness, you're talking about bodily needs, right?
Yes, because the super soul is there, but the soul is there, but because of his conditioned nature, he is into the body. You help him to come out of that body in a long run, but that is the first step. You need to build the relation, right? That was the starting point. When you take care of him properly, he will keep coming to you. So then you will make him progress in the bhakti. That's how it can work. Yes, Prabhu.
Would you say that a person in their Mataji's body, is it easier for them to see others just because...
So, sir, which body?
So would you say a person in Mataji's body,
Yeah.
they have the ability, that easier for them to actually see Atma, a person, instead of, because how mind usually see externals and all of that, right? So it's just the propensity, right? For male and female, the different sort of. So would you see for women it's easier to be sort of self-realized, because they tend to see person, not so much external. I mean, there are other bad things about Mataji's doing, the good and pros and cons, right, for both. But for men, usually they see externals first, how they talk, how they look, appearance and all that. And then also like many Maharaj usually say that like men jump to conclusion as well, they don't really analyze too, right? And we see from experience too. But women tend to actually see through things, analyze it, and they have a slightly little compassionate heart too, right? So would you say that a person in Mataji's body, do they have easier to see a soul, easier for them to see the soul, a person in there, rather than externals and all that?
See, Mataji. Yeah, so, you may be right in one sense that Matajis may be having the easy tendency to recognize him. But as long as you're in a material platform, it's not helpful in bhakti. But to realize it as a soul, see, the bhakti is important. The what level of bhakti you are doing, that drives you the thing, right? It doesn't matter whether you're in a male body or female body. What is your bhakti, how quickly you are progressing, that helps you to realize it. On spiritual level. So, but material platform, you may be doing it, but that will not help you to grow in bhakti, right? It's again, so, but the spiritual, how soon you will have a realization through bhakti, that determines your understanding on other living beings. So, that's my, so it doesn't matter whether it's a male body or female body, what is your bhakti process, how soon, how you are progressing, that will determine your realization, that will address seeing the things.
At the beginning. Spiritual life, actually.
Yeah.
There's no male.
Yeah.
Everyone's
Yeah. Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, just to add on that lens, I don't know the exact verse, maybe Prabhuji can help. So Krishna answers this in Gita. So in women, so he has imparted 7 of his potencies, but in men, he has invested only 1 of his potency, which is Purusha. So there are the 7 qualities from his potency which he has invested in Mataji's.
That helps.
Technically, from a Mataji's body, attaining the pure love of Godhead is easier than.
Okay. Yeah, nice point, Prabhu. Yeah, I'm not
I
a.
don't know the exact verse, but
Yeah.
it's there
Yeah.
in Gita.
Okay, yeah. Nice point. Yeah. Okay. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. You want to take this, Prabhu? You want to? Thank you, Prabhu.